Hello and welcome to my tutorial for the Prenatal Development Notes Foldable. The reason I do this foldable in my class is because it is so fun for the students and it's actually pretty detailed in what happens for prenatal development for both mother and baby. And so hopefully this is detailed enough and you can be able to make it yourself. So what we have here is the front of the foldable. It is the pregnant uterus. Inside you will see the development of baby and month 1 of mom. And then if you close it and flip it around, you will actually see the development of the mother. Then if you squish it together and open it up, this is where the students can take their notes for baby. And then on the back, they can fold it up, open it up, and this is where they can take the notes for mother. It is actually 2 different sections. It is not one. It is kind of like a secret pocket. To start, you are going to need 1 manila folder. I usually like to recycle folders. As you can see, this has been written on. And all you do is cut along where I just showed you on the picture. You're just going to cut off the tabs part. It's okay if there's a little extra opening at the end, but the main part is to get them even, so it's just like a folder. Now that you have your folder, you're going to open it up and you are actually going to fold each side into the center. So it'll look like you're folding it in half, but only halfway of the half. And you are actually going to do this to both sides. Make sure that you get the crease very solid. I use the edges of my scissors. You can also use the edge of a pen, but it just makes it so it's nice and creased and it stays where it's supposed to be. Now what you are going to do is you're going to fold it back in half like a folder again. Avoid the open edge and you're going to cut along the fold of the folder. So again, the fold. You're going to find the halfway mark. I do this by folding it in half and just making a small little crease at the top so that I can see that that's halfway. Then make sure again you are on that fold and you're going to cut halfway up to that fold line, as you can see there. And you're going to have 2 little pieces. Now you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to find the middle of the other half. So just make a small crease and then again just cut on the fold up to that fold line and do the same thing to the other side. Now when you open it up, it's going to look like you have some slits in your folder in the center. Now you are going to need a second manila folder. Again, I used a recycled one. Do the same thing that you did with the first one and cut off the tabbed parts just to make sure it looks kind of like a folder. Then you are going to get rid of that excess. You are going to turn it around and actually cut on the fold. So see that fold line? You are going to cut on that fold line just ever so slightly, just about 1/8 of an inch or less. And now you are going to have 2 sheets of manila envelope. And what you are going to do now is you are going to fold one of them in half. Just crease it at the top and the bottom. And basically what you are going to do is you are going to be cutting it in half. Now you have 2 strips of manila envelope. Now pull out your main foldable again, and what you are going to do now is you are going to insert your strips. So you are going to weave it through the different slits in your foldable, and whatever you do to the first one, you're going to do it opposite to the second one. So if you went forward, then backward, then forward, then backward, then on the other one, you're going to go backwards, then forward, then backwards, then forward. While trying to work the second strip in, I usually tell my students if it is too tight or you can't get the second strip in, then you are going to need to do some trimming on your strips. You do want it snug, but you don't want it too snug and you don't want it too loose. So just trim very small amounts off. Now you can actually fold it and see how it opens up at this point, and I loved having my students do it at this point to test it. Now you are going to take your pregnant uterus page, fold it in half hot dog ways, and you are going to cut up the center to make two pieces. This is going to be the front of your foldable. I will actually link down below the parts that you will actually be cutting out and printing out to glue on. Now you are actually going to glue on your uterus onto the front page. Just line it up with the edges of the foldable and continue to glue. Now that you have glued down your uterus, you are actually going to flip your foldable over and you are going to trim off the excess paper, as you can see here. It just makes it so it's perfectly even with the foldable, so you don't cut it beforehand, you cut it after. You are actually going to now cut out your babies and your moms. You need to make sure that you keep them in order. I know which is which, but you may not. So this is very crucial for students to keep them in order. I like to trim them down just to make them even on all sides so it looks nice. I also don't like the extra black lines, so I really make sure to trim them down. And I keep them in order just by piling them up so that I know which is which and where they need to go. Now it's time to glue on your babies. I put month 1 right here on the flap, as you can see right there. I do that because there's only 8 sections in the center. So with doing that, I'm saving a space for month 1. So as you can see, now I'm going to move month 2 onto the center. It doesn't matter how you glue them down as long as you just glue them down in an order that you remember and you label them correctly. Now you are going to do the same thing you did with the babies, but now you are going to do it with the mothers. You are going to put month 1 right here on the flap, and then you will flip it over and continue the rest on the back. Again, it doesn't really matter what order you put these in as long as you know the order and you label them correctly. It does make it easier if you go in order of 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of going down the columns. Now with all of your mothers and babies glued down, you are going to flip it back over and start labeling. Make sure for month 1 you also add a column for month 1 for where they are going to take notes. Then continue on to the center and label the different months and developments. Then when you are done with the babies, you are going to continue to mother. Same thing with the month 1, and then continue on to the back. Once you are done labeling the outsides, you are going to fold it and get your secret pockets open and start labeling the inside. Make sure you label the inside corresponding to the outside so it makes it easier. Then when you're done with baby, flip it over and do the mother. Now you're all finished. So if you fold it and fold it in half, you're able to see that little gap and open it up and see the secret pocket. You can write your notes here, and it corresponds with the baby on the other side. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you do have any questions, I guess you could message me, but hopefully I was very detailed enough that you are able to duplicate this on your own.